Luxury, I think, is a term that people use, but the truth is actually we just want to create something, and every designer has a sense of we have our own character, and my character happen to be eclectic. I like to mix things, and by mixing things indirectly, I'm actually creating, which people call it luxury. I was not intended to be luxury. I was intended to be comfortable. I see is more something practical and comfort. I'm Alex Bayu Saputro. I'm a principal of Genius Loci. Genius Loci is actually a consultancy firm. We actually established in Singapore, and then the second company we opened was in Shanghai. Then we came to Surabaya, then Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, and the last one we just opened in 2015 is in Chengdu, China again. The company have established 17 years ago and has been doing work for, so far has been doing work for all this multiple country, and now with a manpower of 80 over team. When Pak Michel approached us and saying, hey, we are doing this 3D wall, all that. Are you interested working on it? I say, sure, why not? But I did talk to Pak Michel that I want to approach it in a different approach. And not just a 3D wall alone, but I like to make it into another version. And when we work on this one, we actually take nature as our inspiration. And we use the function of the nature to enhance our living, being architecture or interior. As an interior, we're actually looking for satisfaction. I mean, whoever doing this kind of work, it got to be passionate, and achievement something beyond the limit, or creating something that we never imagined before is one of the tasks that we do. And when the project is completed, that feeling that we achieve is something that the money cannot buy.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining Mosaicart Tale of Tiles webinar today. On our last episode, we had Ibu Mira Hadiprana and Ibu Sekaraya Hadiprana Surya Udaya discussing about the power of artworks, how artworks transform spaces. It was a very interesting discussion as they share a lot of tips on how they change the ambience of the room just by placing an artwork. And they also share some of their hotel projects when they successfully change the surface area into an Instagrammable wall just by placing an artwork. If you missed the episode and would like to watch the recorded version of it, you can just log in and of course subscribe to Mosaicart YouTube channel. Mosaicart is a 3D wall panel that is made of concrete. And since it's made of concrete, it has the character of concrete in terms of the strength and the durability. And just like any other concretes, Mosaicart is very easy to maintain, low maintenance, and applicable for both interior and exterior area. Mosaicart is all about pattern and art. We know that humans has been decorating their walls ever since prehistoric time. Even when they still live in the cave, they painted the cave, they draw on the wall, and they even carve the wall to make a 3D relief that we can consider as art. So we, Mosaicart, desire to be able to produce a wall cover product that is not just an ordinary cladding, but more into like an artwork. And so every piece of Mosaicart is produced based on creativity and design. And we are so happy to be able to work together with architects and also designers in producing our product. And this year, last April, we just launched 20 new designs that we call the Signature Collection. These are the outcomes of the collaboration between Mosaicart and 7 designers and architects that we believe has a strong character in each of their design works. And with this new 20 design, we hope that it's going to strengthen our mission to be able to help all our users to obtain a high premium of 3D wall cover that is ready to use and also easy to maintain. Another things that make Mosaicart interesting to try is because we do custom design. So if you have any design in your mind that you would like to actualize it into a product, of concrete product, we from Mosaicart team are very happy to help you realizing it. This is one of the custom product that we've ever done for one of our 5-star hotel project. We are able to make a fine fissure detail like this. And also we can do 2 tones finishing color in 1 tiles. Of course, if the tiles is bigger, we also can do more than two tones of colors. So the Mosaicart Tale of Tiles is a series of webinars where Mosaicart as a host is going to invite distinguished speakers to share their insights and also their experience that is trending in the architectural and interior industry. The webinar itself is going to last for 45 minutes, and then at the end of the session, there will be Q&A section. So if you have any question, you can just drop your questions in the Q&A box, and we're going to respond to your questions at the end of the session. Please make sure that you click on the Q&A box and not on the chat box. Our speaker for today are Bapak Alex Bayu Saputro and Bapak Benjamin Kim. Both are the founder of Genius Loci. Genius Loci is a design consultant firm based in Singapore and have stretched into regions to Indonesia, Malaysia, and China with 6 offices at the present time with a combined strength of 60 creative minds. Driven by the mission and the desire to excite the sensory experiences of human emotion, this inevitably led the birth of the firm. Incorporated in 2002, their young team of designers dedicated themselves in extracting the inspiration from the genius loci of every individual space it has to offer. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to the speakers. Pak Alex and Pak Benjamin, it's time for you to say.
Thank you, Bu Ruby.
Yeah.
Thanks for the introduction and opportunity for us to share our work today. I'm Alex Bayu Saputro, and this is Benjamin Kim, my partner. Right? We start our firm from a very tiny little place in Orchard Road, across from Paragon last time. And today the place has been converted into a Holiday Inn Express Hotel. From there, we're actually expanding our firm to 4 countries, 6 cities, Southeast Asia. Now we actually have a manpower of 80 over people. With the growth, we start to split our workload. We can't be in one place at a time. And I myself is handling Indonesian division with the office in Jakarta and Surabaya, while Ben is managing Singapore and Kuala Lumpur office. We have an associate partner, San Hao, who didn't join us today, is managing our China office. So I always forget to share my screen, so I'm going to share my screen now before I forget. So the subject we choose to discuss today is Surealism. Why Surealism? Well, throughout the history and our journey of our establishment, Genius Loci, or short form we usually call it GL, have developed into a conceptual design firm. So not only making a place beautiful, we actually narrate a story into a space. As you know, writer tell a story through book, movie producer tell story through movie. We as an interior designer tell our story through a space or room. In interior design, the story usually created based on First one is client brief, or a lot of times the client character is also play a crucial part. The personality actually influence how the work will turn out to be. What is the purpose of the place or the market? What is the market require on that? Okay, in fact, our work do not always lock into one particular style. Even our signature work usually always appear, right, in our project, right? Some of the projects that we've gone through all that have this kind of movement, the surreal, which we like to share with you today. Let's get started. Our familiarity to the surrealism is mainly in art sector, mostly in painting or sculpture. Few of the most popular artists that we know is Salvador Dali, John Miro, or René Magritte. Okay, unlike our assumption, surrealism movement was not started in art actually, but in literature. It was started by a Parisian writer named André Breton. Actually, he's quite famous, but most of the time, actually, probably you didn't hear about him. It's a bit different from Salvador Dali. I'll give you a brief history so you understand how it came about. Breton started the surreal movement with his intention was to release people free spirit after World War I. He joined the movement was to challenge the government for political reason. Well, after the war, people were so suppressed. Well, it became famous and popular, so it spread all over the world. One interesting piece, actually, Breton was not only a writer, he was trained in medicine and psychiatry. Those backgrounds helped him discover the movement. So in order to understand surrealism, you need to know a little bit about psychology. Okay, he believed that our subconscious mind is controlling our conscious mind. Well, actually, in fact, it's our subconscious mind take the big portion in our brain. So by freeing our subconscious mind, we have the freedom to enter another dimension, creating an alternate reality, just like in a dream. So it's all about imagination and creative mind. In fact, surreal work does not have to be pretty, and it doesn't have to be, well, it doesn't have to make sense. Our dream also, at the same time, it doesn't make sense also, right? So the main goal for surrealism is to shock and surprise. Remember these two words. I'll bring it up again later on. Okay, now let's talk about surrealism in interior design. Some of the well-known designers whose work are influenced by surrealism sample are, we all know Marshall Wander. He's one of the hardcore surreal. Here in Mondrian Doha Hotel, he actually used mixed match pattern and oversized furniture. He was basing on the old folk story, 1001 Arabian Night. The second sample is Philip Stark. In Miami Bazaar Mar, he crafted an underwater fantasy with a mythical creature. He's just hanging on the wall. The third one is actually Hemi Heyon. He's a Spanish designer where he used a Stone Age concept in his Milan Fair exhibition. Well, Hemi tend to use a lot of this clown face form, which he always repeated in some of his projects. Not only in interior, some product also got influenced by surreals, right? Some example, leather low table by Dali, right? Dali used a leg and arm to support tabletop. Second example is scarf furniture by Luca Mari. You can see the furniture here and cut and stitch it back again, purposely to show the furniture defect and scar. Macri believed the beauty of the furniture is in the mistake. Well, and it's also okay to show them, right? Third one is Jeff and Worcester Pendant Light by Jake Phillip. In here, Jake actually created a series of panel light work. He was inspired by Rena McCree painting. And the different head actually show the different status in British society. And last one, probably we all know, is actually Moi Horse Ram by Marcel Wander. Okay, since there's actually no rule in Surrealism, we actually use this 4 main points where it kind of helps us to guide how to achieve the dreamy look. First one, story is a dream. As I mentioned before, we will narrate a story into a space, right? Like any other project, from client brief, we create a story where it aligns with the project direction. Since Surrealism is about creating an alternate reality, we let our subconscious mind take over our conscious mind here in the process. Second one is a wow effect. Remember, I mentioned that the surreal purpose is to create shocking and surprise effect. Usually here we use symbol, deform or deconstructed scale, to grab people's attention. We show them that thing will not happen in the real world. Sometimes we exaggerate it, being a color, pattern, anything that's bring out the illusion effect. Third item was juxtaposition. Well, we mix everything together. Mixing is one of surreal characteristic. Right? And we put next to each other and it doesn't make sense. It just creates that's unreal, right? Some example, you're familiar with Salvador Dali has one painting called Le Elephant Giraffe. There he actually show an elephant with a giraffe leg, right? Okay, last one, which is the fun one, humor. Actually, since there's no rule in Surrealism and it doesn't have to make sense, so it's quite easy to inject humor, right, into the space. The idea is creating a parallel dimension, making people laugh while they're experiencing the space. So you can have fun while designing at the same time, right? Okay, our project. Throughout the time, as I mentioned to you, we gather some projects and some of them actually have that surreal influence. Here we like to share with you some that we selected for today's discussion. First one is Carnival, right? This project was done around 9 years ago, 2011, located in Grand Indonesia. It's quite interesting. When we were requested to design this project, this playground, the equipment was already there and it was left over by Fun World. It was huge and heavy. It weighed quite a number of tons each. Well, you can see here the existing photo, right? All the equipment was there, right? That was brought in during the construction. They were using tower crane and they even have demolished the wall. It's impossible to move even by 1 centimeter. So, and also the condition now is very dark, gloomy. The toilet looked like a horror story to me. So usually in the project, we start by designing concept, then we allocate the form and material into the plan or the space. But here we do reverse. We got a machine, now we need a concept. Then we found this poster, right, which actually source of where the inspiration came about, right? The poster happened to show a carnival event with kind of equipment almost the same like what we already got, right? Then we changed the name. From Funworld, we changed to Carnival, which is came from the word Carnival Village, right? Carnival is actually a festive that it's a celebration, happen yearly, usually lasted about a few days, right? It involves circus and playground, like merry-go-round, balloon ride, games, firework, and not forgetting we got the popcorn and hot dog stand. And due to its temporary effect, they usually set up in tent. Most of the time it's quite colorful, right? As you can see here, we create a tent illusion at the entrance, supported by the constructed column like a candy, right? The portals were actually to give illusion of entering another world, which for children is quite fun and makes sense. We twist on the normality and adapt this new reality, which on this case is children playground. Bear in mind, this is done in 2011. During that time, iPad was not popular to children yet. First iPad actually was developed, was launched actually end of 2010. And at that period, children play activity was mostly using their motoric skill and imagination. They adapt easier with cartoon, 2D form, right? They actually use more motoric than today's children. Once you are inside, you are transformed into children land, right? We want to create outdoor festive in indoor space. So we painted the sky blue with a white cloud and series of mountain in the background. We just give that illusion of village, of farm. In interior work, right? Contractor usually use plywood to constructing, which is kind of like this staple material. But here, in order to achieve the dream organic form, we use fiberglass, right? We spray the fiberglass selected color, right? So the prop of giant watermelon, polka dot mushroom, well, that time Yayo was not this famous, so we didn't really copy her. It just happened to look quite cute to have a polka dot mushroom. We give this illusion of hallucination, right? The kid obviously can sit, crawl. The idea is to stimulate that interaction on the children, to give that movement. We use different floor pattern with color and texture, to give this different kind of zoning. And the piano form suddenly become a connecting, which is one place to another, right? You notice of using extreme proportion, color and organic, right, to give that effect. Here you can see we got this giant pumpkin on the fake grass or carpet. So you can crawl in and sit down on it. Okay, if you're familiar with Grand Indonesia, the column that they have existing is giant. They are about 1.2 meter size, making it quite unsightly actually to the eye. So here we use a lot of fiberglass. We wrap the column with a twisted candy swirl. Well, it's the same effect on the illusion, creating this illusion. Then we kind of put a bunch of this firework that some of them are already flying on the sky, right, to give that festive feeling. This area actually for the train ride. So we want that outdoor feeling. We put this grass, giving grass, surrounded by apple tree and mushrooms. So the train was going to all this farm, right? Well, at the same time, the firework to camouflage the column, right? Okay, this shot, we got this deconstructed shed that almost collapsed. Purposely give the feel of danger. You know, the kid actually entered this zone to go into a boat ride, or if they go upstairs, they go into a balloon ride, right? So we use this prop of drum, deformed lamp, post, and fence to directing the kid where's the direction they have to go, right? The prop is actually we use quite a lot in Surreal, was try to give this, help us in narrating the story actually, and also bring the emotion into the space. Okay, this zone is a children's storytelling. So it's a place where the kid gather, sometimes they sit on the floor, or we even create a book for them to sit down, is when attendants were telling them a story, or sometimes they're watching a cartoon, right? Okay, we actually use color pencil here as a fence to barricade one place to another. Okay, I got a very funny story here, actually. And you notice this fence was actually at the perimeter of the playground. So in order to install it, we had to remove the hoarding during the last stage of construction. Well, once we remove it, right, while the contractor was start putting this fan, few kids happened to play around the area, actually stole our pencil and ran away. So, well, we got a bunch of baba running all over the place, chasing all these kids to retrieve back the pencil. We managed to get it back with all the parent help, but I guess the kid thought this was a crayon, so They just thought stealing is a good idea, right? Next shot here I got is actually a washing area, right? So we do want to carry out that festive of the tent, but having a tent in the toilet is not really a good idea since maintenance is a nightmare. So what we did, we just painted the ceiling like a tent and then creating the tent illusion on the perimeter, right? Here, we also added distorted lamp and chair used for accessory for the space. You notice the use of story, deformed and out of proportion, right? Juxtaposition and humor, right? To help us carry out the story or the concept. Second project I'd like to share with you is an exhibition we did with Spaghetti in ICE or Indonesian Convention Center in BSD. This one's actually a yearly exhibition that most of the building supplier gather to show the product. And we've been supporting the event with Spaghetti from the first time they joined. And this year we're supposed to have a third one. Was in April, but it got postponed to next year due to the COVID situation now. So the one that I'll be sharing with you is actually a second one on 2018. Probably some of you seen this before, right? Okay. Most of the stone exhibition are done by displaying the stone in a very structured form. They either in alley, square form, and most of the time are not too colorful unless the stone is very colorful. So we want to do a different approach here, something totally different, right? We know that everybody pretty much in the design industry know Spaghetti. They are one of the largest stone supplier. So instead of showing a stone, and being a stone, you know, the product are the same. So if you get a nicer stone, you just sell higher price. Or you sell a lower price if your stone quality is average. So instead of just showing the product, which is irrelevant, right? We decide to show their skill, what they can do. We also want to give them a retention value. Because most of the time exhibition, you see, you go home, you forget after you go home. You hardly remember. You just have one catalog. So instead of displaying the stone like most of the stone exhibition, we decide to have fun with it and create a dream illusion to another world. We want something that organic, not real, surreal, and to give that wow factor. And obviously very vibrant color here to go opposite of the typical stone exhibition. So the story that we pick here to establish the concept is Alice the Wonderland by Tim Burton specifically. So Tim Burton is actually, as you know, is very famous for surreal movie producer. Not only producing Alice the Wonderland, he also created Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas, and Beetlejuice. So, so the stage now, like in the movie, we create a stage, right? The first stage, we choose two locations. One is the Red Queen Castle, as you can see on the first picture. And the second stage, we use a Wonderland Gate with the giant mushroom. So those two are the inspiration how we get started. And this is what it turned out to be. We create a portal, just like in the movie, where visitors are sucked in a rabbit hole to another dreamland, right? We transport them into this Red Queen Castle. It's a center stage. Depart them from the real world, right? So you can see all the material here are made of stone, except the round column, right? We got a limit on 9 by 9 meter space. We need to create this surreal version of the castle. And in ice exhibition, we got a limit of 7 meter ceiling height. So in order to achieve this endless height illusion, we tilted and deformed the column with a proportion that doesn't seem to make sense. So you can see the human scale here on the height that we have. Well, the distortion, the form, all that actually help creating that illusion effect, giving this majestic height. Okay, this photo you can see is actually a disconstructed stone is a description of fireplace, right? The fireplace help make us feel shorter, so the building looks taller, right? The deformed wall and the twisted floor pattern create these dreamy stages. I mean, ready to take you guys to the next step, right? Bear in mind, this was done from stone, and we only have 4 nights to work on it. So around 100 people working on one booth alone. During that time, we actually have 2 booths. One is actually by Hadi Prana. They did the concept with the Gatsby, and this one is by us, right? So you can imagine the intense and chaos while building this. Okay, there is another portal to bring you to the Wonderland Gate dimension. Once you enter this portal, you are no longer watching a movie. Before you actually watching a movie. So we transform you to become part of the movie. You become an actor or actress as you enter that portal. So like in the story, Alice did appear as one time as a giant, and she also became a dwarf at the same time. So in this zone, we use a camera trick, right? It's called Amy's room. We arrange the room in the perspective and proportion to create this illusion. So you can appear as a giant on one side, which is on the left in the photo. As you walk to the right side, you suddenly shrinking yourself into a dwarf. We even provide a Polaroid photograph, so everybody have their picture taken and bring home as a memory for retention value. So when the exhibition is over, you can imagine the turnout. This space has become one of the favorite ones, right? You notice we use a shocking effect, out of proportion, dream and humor as well. It's interaction between the audience or the visitor are used here to achieve this exhibition purpose. People will remember Fagetti as a creative stone supplier with high skill and will not be forgotten. The space that we create can stimulate this interaction between people who visit. So it's not only just a pretty eyes, or it's not something that for you to see only, you are part of it already. So creating this surreal concept was achieved a lot more by people taking photograph and spread it throughout the Instagrammable. I mean, today is all Instagram. So we did get a very huge response from the media, and this is the only booth that have a long queue just to enter the booth. Okay, next one is actually, I'm gonna pass it to Ben. I mean, he will talk a lot more detail on this. Ben, your turn.
Hi everyone, I'm Benjamin. Thank you for having me. I hope everyone is good and safe. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a little on what my thoughts on surrealist influence, I would say. Do we create surrealism as literally doing something that is something you can see that is distorted? Yeah, probably. But at the same time, for me, that's my personal opinion. Surrealist is something that you have fun with. Surrealist is something of an alternate dimension. Surrealist is also inspiration for you to be different. Surrealist is about dream. And I think it inspires people to dream bigger and inspires people to have an alternate view on things, right? So they do feel as if it's they're a different world, in going to a different world, from one space to another space. Yeah, so here we have a gym, Babel TTBI at the Menara Ken in Kuala Lumpur. When we first got this brief, the client's requirement was to create something that people have never experienced before. Create something that is an experience like no other. They do not want the typical masculine gym. They do not want the typical very clinical gym. What they want is they want an experience that is people will feel that luxury and experience, you know, a lifestyle, a new lifestyle. So we created Babel. We have next slide. Okay, so Babel, as you know, actually a old city, a very old ancient city. And this city was very well known for their riches, their trade. Think of Babel of the old years where everything was masculine, powerful, and it's the middle of everything, you know, it's the middle of civilization. So we wanted to create Babel, a gym, in this year 2014 back then, right? To recreate and reconstruct a gym where people feel they are empowered. They feel that they are part of the city. They are part of a lifestyle, a new lifestyle. And we decided that how are we going to detach the normal day people working like you and I, right? Suddenly go into a different dimension altogether. Hence, the client said, let's create a gym that people have never seen it before. A lifestyle gym, a place where people want to be associated. It's a place where people want to be. So we created Pebble in Kuala Lumpur. Next slide, please. So for this project, we just decided to give people this alternate lifestyle, alternate experience. We talk about this gym, 40,000 square feet, but the entrance is barely 4 meters, 3 to 4 meters in width, and that was the entrance I had. And this place was actually on the rooftop of the building. So how am I supposed to create a gym where it's supposed to be interesting at the same time? Entrance of 3 meters. Crazy. So we decided to really string people and make them go into a narrow space of 3 meters, and we created this little foyer where we created this sculpture of a fat man chiseling himself down into somebody that's very trim. As you can see, we decided to go down to the basics, and we decided to use graphical connotations on the floor, like how you would redraw yourself using patterns, very noticeable patterns. The walls are actually very basic. And if you notice on the sides, we created this portal. This portal is actually made of raw steel to actually transport you into a different dimension. So it's a portal, a doorway. So the whole entire narrative of the gym starts from the beginning and go into the interior, from the outside world, transforming you into a different dimension. Next slide. Okay, I won't elaborate too much. This is the doorway. Very raw material. We mix raw material with very polished material, as you can see. And this material of luxury is going all the way into the main gym area. And many people actually have this feeling of luxury. It's something that they never seen before, in many cases, of a gym especially, I would say. Next slide. This is the end of the foyer. And again, we repeated the patterns. We bombarded people with this feel of patterns flowing down into the interior, overwhelming the experience, you know, so that it becomes very complete. And I think the whole entire experience becomes more immersive in a sense. Next slide. Okay, a glimpse at the foyer. Right, the foyer, we made it into a lifestyle space, a place where you can hang out, a place where you probably have fun with. Next slide. Okay, so the gym is actually broken into a couple of parts, and because on the rooftop, it's really difficult to design 40,000 square feet that's broken into little spaces. And you can imagine in the middle, we have a gym space, and suddenly we have a corridor space, and we have the aircon, huge aircons on the roof, and it's just broken up. So for whatever space that we have, we created this part of the gym as a very casual space. So back to the brief, the client was saying, let's create a gym that is, I don't want it to be too masculine. So we decided to infuse colors, a little casualness into the space, so that, you know, gone were the days where you go to the gym, you have all these masculine six-packs guy walking around, and we understand the ladies actually enjoy very private spaces. So we created it in a way the persona of the space becomes a bit more softer. The persona of the space becomes a bit more feminine in some way. So both ladies and gentlemen can actually experience. Alex, you've been to this gym, right? Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got your six-packs from there, I remember.
I got one part of a six-pack from there.
One part from there. Yeah, so I think, as you can see, the gym is really casual. And I think, again, the word is, we want it memorable. right? So we created this gym that has a lot of texture, colors, and sculptures going. We actually infused a lot of art into the space as well. Next slide, please. Gyms definitely cannot be complete unless there is a technology to it. The technology of day and night. By day, it's light color. By evening, it will change to a red color. So we created ambience that is immersive to the mood, and I think it depends on the kind of experience of the time. And by the way, Alex, you remember? I can't remember if you know. We actually had Halloween on this gym.
Yeah.
Okay, and the lights was all red. and you have like vampires going around trying to train you, you know. So it's that kind of fun and humor that we really want to infuse in the space. Next slide, please. Against technology, I won't draw too much into it. There's about 11,000 LED lights that actually synchronizes with music. And it's a very powerful, very energetic space when you cycle. Again, we use very strong colors like yellow and blue, so that the place becomes more exciting rather than just masculine kind of feel. So we just use colors as a very playful notion in this narrative. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is one of many people's favorite spots. It's the changing room. So here we have changing room, the boys' toilet and the ladies' toilet, obviously. So how are you going to make a place fun? We have the sculptures and all that. It's almost like a museum space where you go space to space to enjoy the different kind of ambience. Each space you go in, you know, it's just an experience. But the male and female changing room. So we decided to put a mid-century person with a pencil in his nose. Right? So with the ladies and the gents pointing to the ladies and gents, so you can't get it wrong. Although the guy is having a long hair, just realized. But I mean, the whole idea is just to have fun and just to have a conversation. You know. That's what we had, and I think this is one of the most Instagrammable spots of the gym. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a, oops, the slide is not on.
It went blank, so I moved.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it went blank.
Okay.
That one.
Oh, this one is quite far forward. Okay.
I think,
Yeah.
Sorry. Something.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
So
let me just. No, this is the one, but it went blank. I don't know why.
yeah,
Right.
it's okay.
Okay.
So this gym, you couldn't see the ladies' vanity area, but the ladies' vanity area was designed as hexagon space. It's a 8-sided hexagon space, and it's a mirror. It was filled with mirror. So the whole idea is actually when a lady goes into the space, they have different facets of themselves. And you know how ladies are where they get into wardrobe space, they get stuck down there. Looking at themselves from all 8 different sides, right? So, you know, ladies really want to look good, right? So we created this space that is 8-sided. It's very interesting. And in the center, we had a chandelier trying to recreate the feminist power, having a chandelier lowered so that they are actually re-expressed as the key character in the space, right? So this slide, as you can see, we probably boast ourselves as the only saltwater swimming pool in the whole of KL, a gym, there's saltwater swimming pool. So this gym is somewhat luxury, and it's about quirkiness, and it's about really having fun. Basically tearing people into different dimensions, into coming to a new space to have a new reality, different reality of gym experience. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, so here you have people Instagramming, having quite fun, floating on the pool. Yeah, that is Babel, TTDI. Go to the next slide. Okay, so after we created this, there was a bit of hype in the gym industry. Many people was asking, okay, so what's next? Are you able to recreate another gym again of this level or even more interesting? So we were like, okay, so what we're going to do? And we were invited by KLCC. As you know, KLCC is one of the key destinations in Kuala Lumpur, the Twin Towers. We're supposed to create something that's really prime. And the problem with this is we are going to be in the middle of Chanel, Dior, Prada, Hermes. Alex, you do remember the location that we were in, right?
Yep.
Right.
In front of Chanel. You have to pass
Chanel. Past year. So what you will have people describing is, where's Babel? Babel KLCC, you have to walk past Hermes, then you can walk past Dior, then you pass Chanel with the entrance of the ground floor and Chanel where the drop off for the valet is. So how am I supposed to create a gym full of energy, full of power, full of fight, and full of lifestyle in the middle of a very luxurious space? And that was what KLCC gave us. This space is the 30,000 square feet in the heart of KL. Next slide. So we decided that we will create a gym of, again, different experience. So the first gym, we actually had experiential. We decided to keep this very experiential thing, like how Surealism inspired designs are. It's about things falling apart. It's about things being juxtaposed around. It's about things being torn apart and reconstructed again. So we decided that this whole experience should be like a museum still. So we decided that, okay, it's going to be same kind of experience, but we're going to introduce it more of an art form, creating more art into it. So hence, we have Babel KLCC. Next slide. As you can see, we have the picture perfect building, right, in the heart of KL. Next slide. So when the client told us, say, okay, recreate another gym, we said, okay, we created one gym, so what's going to be next? So the persona, the characteristics of this gym, we decided that it's going to be somewhat feminine still, somewhat approachable. And I think the interesting thing about this space is in the middle of a shopping center. It's in the void of a shopping center. You know how shopping centers are, right? You overlook, and usually that's where people walk around. This is exactly where it is. We were given this foyer of space in a double volume space, and the gym behind, you see where this cylindrical element is, that's where the gym is. So we're supposed to create a gym from a shopping mall. So we decided that, okay, we created a giant staircase so that it links the foyer to the gym itself. We created this 100-ton spiral staircase on the back, and we decided to put a sculpture, a thinker infused together with a hand, basically to tell you the story that your destiny is in your hands, right? So we created this. We infused a lot of tropical elements into this gym because Malaysia being tropical city, we use pink. You can see our ceiling, and we use very masculine black at the same time. Next slide. Okay, so this is one slide back. Yeah. Okay. I do not know, but it seems that this inclination of ladies liking to pose in quite a lot of spaces. So this was actually borrowed by one of the Instagrams. Okay, what we created is a tunnel space, and this tunnel actually leads to different pockets of spaces like the yoga room, the heat room, and stuff like that. We decided to recreate this tunnel for the corridor into a different experience, and we got this artist, Alex, what's his name? Konoski, yes. He's a Spanish dude, very creative guy. So we told him, say, Konoski, we want to create a mural. But this mural is very interesting. This mural has 3 murals in one. It reacts to red, blue, and green, the LED colors. When it's red, you see one picture. When it's blue, you see another picture, and it's green, you see another picture. So there are 3 graphics into one. We call it RGB art, right? So as you sit there, you actually get to experience different kind of moods. As you can see, the red, you can see the green, it reveals different kind of texture. So when we told him, said, Konoski, could you create something that is Malaysian? He didn't know what Malaysian was. So we told him, okay, it's tropical, it's a garden, and there are trees, plenty of trees, and it used to be a fishing village. So he created this. With the next slide. This is actually a concept where you can see 3 different layers of picture woven into one. It's called RGB art, and we got him to design this piece of art. It's real life size. Okay, so it's a 2.8 meter by about close to 15 meters long. Next slide, please.
It's a big video, this one.
It's a very quick video, and just show you how the transition works. You can see from red, you saw an old shop house converting into a garden. It seems like the thing overwhelms the shop house, right? So the whole idea is really get you sucked into a different dimension. As you can see, it starts to reveal different pictures again. This guy is really creative, and I think he created something really great. And I think people see it as you're part of a movie, right? So this is a tunnel, left and right. You can see the tunnel, and that's where the mural is. Okay, so this is the staircase, and we have more mural installations as we go through the space. It's all about luxury. Next. This is one of my personal favorite locations. This, earlier we had the changing room, right? We have this changing room, boys changing room, girls changing room. So this changing room is the ladies changing room, the entrance of the ladies changing room. At the far end, you see my pet friend. You can see her. Do we have next slide? Her name is Mona Lisa. Okay, so Mona Lisa was created by a friend. She was very creative. So we exchanged some ideas, and we were like, okay, should we have something really adorable? So we decided to have a spoof. Again, alternate dimension, alternate reality. So she decided to use a Mona Lisa, right? And if you notice, she sticks out her tongue, and she had this kawaii on her paw. And she's grabbing her tail. I just realized that. Yeah. So we have Mona Lisa, having a bit of fun in the design. Next slide. Then, of course, Mona Lisa has a boyfriend. Okay, we have Vincent. Right, so we have a Vincent Malkoff. Pardon the cheesiness of the name, but it was together with a whole bunch of contractors. When after the whole project finished, we just looked at it and I just said, dudes, name it, anything you wanted. So yeah, so that's how Vincent got his name down here. So we have the boyfriend, and this leads to the male part of the changing room. Next slide, please. Okay, so now you have a sneak preview on the ladies' changing room. Again, luxury. We impose and infuse a lot of luxury. We have red croco leather. We infuse a lot of richness, textures. The ceiling was dressed in timber. The floors were dressed in white marble. The seats was in cuff leather. This luxury in a very pinnacle sense. Again, remember I was telling you, powerful. We want to edify the very female characteristics when they are in there. We want them to fall in love with the space. We want them to be part of the space. This was actually the photography zone of Miss Malaysia. I can't remember which year. I think 2019. Yeah. So you can see Instagrammable spot on the left. Next slide, please. Okay. Again, we have a vanity space. Okay. Next slide. Okay, this slide is quite interesting. I had this question. They said, this is locker room, by the way. They asked me, why do you have this mural in your locker? I was telling them, to be honest, I was just very inspired by the tropical environment and all that. So my answer to the contractor was, it was a client, sorry. It was a customer that came in and asked me, why do you choose a flamingo? Then I told her, when you go to Bali, right, you spend thousands of dollars, you stay in some Ubud resort, you first shower in the middle of the tropical jungle, trying to experience the flora and fauna, how the dewdrops come into you, and you'll be showering, in the middle of the forest. Here you get to change in front of 100 flamingos, right? So the whole experience is really something of humor. So that was why I call it my tutorial of 100 flamingos. Next slide. Okay, so I'll just breeze through this. We use technology, we use energy to describe our space. Next slide, please. And our main gym itself, being a very tropical space. Alex, yeah, okay. Tropical space, we just use simple elements. It was actually recyclable. We actually have recyclable materials. We use a lot of recyclable materials for the acoustics and stuff like that. But we actually had drinks in the gym itself. Next slide. And yep, again, we want people to enjoy the space, and I think people just infuse themselves into the different spaces in the gym. Next slide. Okay, so we have this part of the gym where they have heavy irons and stuff like that. Very masculine space. So we decided to paint the whole space in green. Every single part of the gym, of this part of it, was actually green. Again, the whole idea was to create a different dimension, a different kind of experience, because gyms are very masculine and stuff like that. So we decided to use color to have a bit fun, to infuse a bit of fun into it. So hence we created this, and our lights, again, we create a bit of quirkiness. The lights can actually change, into numeric numbers, alphabets, and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting when we fuse together with technology. Here's the last slide. Okay, so there you have it. Pebble, a gym that we have created. Basically, the whole idea to it was it's about having fun. I think the whole team that designed this really had fun. It was really, really tiring. There were a lot of things to consider, but there's a lot of fun that we actually had to recreate this whole entire experience. A gym like no other. And I think the whole idea about recreating space like that, a gym doesn't need to be a physical masculine environment. Although we want to infuse power, we want to infuse energy into it. At the same time, we do not need it to be really in your face. We could recharacterize it. We actually reassign a persona. We reassign a characteristics so that things become softer. Things becomes a bit different, and hence it touched the heart of many people. And I think that's why people manage to associate with a kind of lifestyle, just like any products that we create. When people fall in love with it, they will tend to be emotional with the space and the product, right? So for me, Surealism is really something that is deconstructed, something that is really about having fun. It's also about things not in order of alignment. It's about really, really getting your hands down and just recreate again, so that people can enjoy. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, so surreal work, I think, as Ben mentioned, that the team or the designer who get involved in working, we actually always put ourselves like an actor or actress. One day we got to transform ourselves in Johnny Depp, Pirate Caribbean movie. So we got to fill in that personality, that form, and not only just the look, but the emotional factor of it. Second one was suddenly you got to be the James Bond, where you got to be so structured, CIA, Secret Service car, British Secret Service car character. So you have to transform that on and off. And being designer, we are actually doing similar or exactly the same thing. One day we got to do American classic, one day we got to do it now. But the whole idea is what you can fit as the purpose of the space, right? The idea client engaging us is here to be able to help them to simulate a space into the product that they want to send a message to the public, right? So let's come to the next one. We were approached by Mosaicart to kind of work out some series of the 3D wall, which I mentioned before. I want to make it a little bit different, not just a 3D wall, but something that we can explore different avenue. So we purposely take nature as our inspiration this time. I'm just going to read. Nature know everything. In fact, they are actually the geniuses. Not only ornament, their way of living have impressed and teach us various design advice. As designer, we tend to take reference from nature to create product to boost our well-being, just like nature do to us, by genius Loci, right? So before I get started, I'll just show you a very quick video how we explore the product, right? Hope you can enjoy it. Okay. First product, we took inspiration from forest. You know, just like in forest, we can feel the light and breeze passing through the tree and the leaf here. And we want this panel, the first product, we have to be able to stand independent. So it's not mounting on the wall. It will be supporting by itself, just like a tree trunk. So we create this four module of that can be assembled into a pattern. Okay, so like this sample you see in the corridor, you can feel the passing, when you're passing through this corridor, you can feel, you know, the light, the wind, the breeze, you know, just like when you're walking through the forest. So this likely become a screen of facade, right? Or with the whole idea here. The second example, we actually use it as a boundary wall panel. The hole itself, we allow the greenery to peek between all the panel. It does give kind of organic movement, especially when the wind starts blowing through it. You can see the leaf is moving, but the panel stays still. So we always like to hear this emotional factor to bring into the product itself. Second product actually was inspired by water flowing through bamboo. It's just giving this endless ripple, right? Here we want to strike the balance between the linear and the curved line, just creating this serenity harmony. Okay, here we got three panels that obviously you can assemble all these three panels into a pattern. Like one example here. This is more the wall unit, right? It's more wall pattern. Right. The third product was actually inspired by coral. I always like this, the color, the diversity of underwater ecosystem, you know. The intention is to create an art form. So instead of wall panel or screen, so this series will work as an artwork. It's independent. It doesn't have to be connected with anything. You can put with anything without any connection or relation with any other materials around you. It's an art piece, right? And there's no limit to it. You can arrange or rearrange it again. We can deconstruct the nature and stitch it back again as an art, right? While reconstructing it, it allows a new form to come up. So this, we got three module pieces that you can assemble into an art piece. For this case was actually artwork behind the bathtub, where you can put a light on it to create a depth illusion. To all GL troop, our motto, great design always make us smile. Well, that's how we conclude our talk today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Alex and Pak Benjamin, for a very amazing insights. I was very mesmerized by all the photos in the projects, especially the Alice in Wonderland project, the Spaghetti. I think it is successfully can bring the scene when Alex fell into the rabbit hole and slid down through the tunnels. And all the big red pillars also reminds me of the Queen of Hearts castle. It was very amazing. And it makes me wonder, where did you get all the inspiration to make all that? And when I see the project in Babel, when you decide to put a paintings of medieval ladies with a pencil on the nose, and when you decide to put pencil colors for the fans, that is a very fun idea. And where did you get that idea?
This one I'll answer, yeah. Okay, so when we as a designer start our work, as I mentioned, we all start by profiling the client first. What is the purpose of the project? So when we know the purpose of the project, we start to narrate, create a story to fit the purpose in it. And inspiration came from anywhere. I mean, as I say, we are not always doing surreal all the time. We did other projects that are typical, the classic, the modern, the tropic, all that. But this one, once we fit in that, we need to transform our mind. As I say, we are an actor, we are an actress. If we need to be a certain character, we will transform ourselves into that character. So the beauty, if the more you can be part of that character, the more you can create that emotion of the work. So yes, the inspiration came from anywhere. And since we are talking about surreal, we got the idea, we just mix the whole thing apart, which give a few guidelines how we transform the space, right? So yeah, just like in a movie, that's easy to put it up.
That's very interesting. And do you think to make a surrealism design, do you think a designers need to have a certain talent to do that, or anyone can be that?
Certain okay, basic talent definitely do have, right? I say you cannot become an actor if you don't have that talent at the same time. But once you have that, you need to grow it. I mean, talent need to grow. Talent is not something just came from sky and you have it forever. You also need to grow. During the growing process, that is where you play with it. It's called the experience. The word experience coming in when you grow your talent. And the more you play, the more you explore it, the more you are actually getting deeper and you found new discovery, right?
Okay, thank you. And I must say that what I admire most about Genius Loci, and especially for Alex, is because I see him as a person who always think out of the box. They always have brilliant ideas. I remember the time when we first talking about the design, our collaboration design. He asked me whether I can make concrete with hollow. At that time I said, well, I'm not sure because I've never done that before, but now see, now we can make this concrete with hollow. This is one of the piece from the coral design that we made. And because of Pa Alex now, I know that we actually can produce a concrete panel with hollow. I personally have to say thank you to Pa Alex for pushing us to work beyond. Now we have several questions waiting. Are you two ready to answer? Okay, the first question.
Ben is ready.
Okay, we jump to the first questions. Okay, what do you think about how is surrealism will affect the residential trend and the owner lifestyle?
Ben, your turn.
Me, okay.
Okay,
Oh my goodness.
okay, Ben.
Yeah. So can you repeat the question again? I missed that part.
Oh, okay, the question. I will repeat again.
Residential trend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So residential trend, a bit tricky, right? Surrealist. If you see, for me, it's if you really go and make the client's place with a crooked walls and crooked columns, I think you'll be a bit worrying. Although, I mean, if you talk about the basic architecture, forms, function, on how interlocking spaces work, it's about composition. It's all about composition. A surrealist inspired thing, I wouldn't say that we should take it wholesale. I would say use the fun elements of the movement. You know, use the fun element of the movement. Well, I don't think any client will be very pleased you're going to create an upside down house for him, right? But think about how are you going to infuse the movement of fun? How are you going to infuse the joy? How are you going to infuse the kind of experience that people can really find, right? I think that to me, it's where the inspiration comes from. I mean, specifically speaking about surrealists. Yeah, what do you think about that, Alex?
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's actually how we're being affected, like
yeah. Think of it as inspiration, I would say. An inspiration where it gives you an opportunity to be free. It gives you an opportunity for you to reorganize things in a different way. You know, a horse may not be a horse. A pool may be reinterpreted. You know, defining by space, defines by the genius loci of all the spaces or what's around you. You know, that influence you to create what you do. You know.
Just adding one thing, you know, the owner character, the personality of owner is actually influenced a lot on this. I mean, not every
yeah,
owner,
it is.
but like fashion, you gotta make some fashion design a little bit quirky. I don't know, you got an example of that. I mean, that was actually the personality they were. I mean, this is design, this is fashion, this is movie. So all the personality, like I mentioned before, Tim Burton always creates surreal. So most of his work, I edit is surreal, right? It's the personality owner also will do that. It will kind of enhancing or supporting the creation. Okay.
Okay, the next question is from Afin. Okay, have you ever experienced a situation where the concept and the reality doesn't correlate and doesn't end up being as the clients envisioned?
Who's answering this? Tricky question.
This sounds very tricky. Alex, you can have this one.
Okay. Okay, whether it's exact, yes, of course, there's a cases that we kind of like, I mean, this is a design industry. There is a cases sometimes it's like, oh, it doesn't turn out the way it is. But being a designer, I've been experienced in this industry for quite a long time. I always have this motto called adapting. There is no 100% perfect, but you always can adapt to get closer to what it has. And the skill of designer, we say, it's like a chef. You know, sometimes chef came out, yeah, the food is not as good as, but being used, being experienced, you can always mix things up to kind of make it eatable, right? Adaptable. So that is what we do. I mean, we cannot say everything 100%. I mean, we got a lot of positions. Sometimes contractor, they mess it up. The scale was not done as per what we requested. Color didn't turn out as what we want. But being a while in this industry, actually, I myself have been working on this for the last 30 years. I mean, while I graduated until now. And yeah, using those skill and experience that we've gone through time, we managed to adapt. Very simple, I say is chef. Chef can always make a food taste good, even though it was not as per what he planned, right? Next question. Next one is yours, Ben.
Okay, the next questions. This is from Pak Adrian Purnowono. Hi, Pak Alex and Mr. Benjamin. Thank you for the sharing. Pak Alex, a quick question. Apart from this current webinar presentation, I've seen some of your architectural works, especially the residential one, and I love them. How do you get the idea from? I presume they're not from Surealism one.
Well,
So it's asking about you.
That's your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, we not always do surreal. I mean, surreal is one of the factor. I mean, we do tropical. I did colonial. I did American classic. I even do French at the same time. So being a designer, GL had positioned ourselves very differently compared to other firms. We decided when we start the firm, we do not want to lock into one particular style. We enjoy the adaptation. We enjoy the movement. So when the client brief us, when we have this so-called profiling client, the client already tell us what is their preference. Obviously, we customize housing. We only do housing for individual client. The house only available or it only work well with the client that engage, and it cannot be repeated to another client because it's different. I mean, I did a job that my kitchen is not at the back but at the front of the house, but it worked on this one client but it might not work on another client. I got the living room was more semi-outdoor instead of indoor. Certain clients say no, it's mosquito, but this client love it. So those are interpretation how the idea being transformed. Not all the time surreal. Yes, surreal is a little bit unique. As you notice, this is only few cases that we can share with you, right? But not all the time we do that. We do quite a lot of, we call it more, not the crazy way, but the normal way of the house. So,
next question. This is interesting. This comes from Pak Donald Kurnia. Can you share a bit about your insight about design implementation in retail during this new normal situation? How we can still create excitement like this surrealism, but you have to also think about the practical and the safety net. Oh, and he adds another thing, so safe and sexy at the same time. Very funny.
Okay, you answer that, Ben.
Oh, the difficult one, right? Okay. To be honest, I don't do retail that often, but it's a very interesting point because prior to COVID, this lockdown period, many questions were asked about what is going to be the future of all the sectors, being it retail, F&B, hospitality. So I was just sharing some ideas with some people. What do you think the future has for us? What will be the new norms? Do people go back to what they do? Do they shop like how they would shop? Will retailers still take up very, very big spaces? And incidentally, this is also in relationship with how we do shopping mall designs. The traditional amalgamation of spaces on how much to let a lettable area versus transition spaces, and all that will be different for the future. Retail, as you know it, people who used to rent spaces like 50,000, 100,000 square feet, 200,000 square feet, you have your Zara, you have all these big brands. It will be quite different in the future. To answer that question, I would say retail experience, it may or may not be something that is going to be a big wow factor and big shops, glamorous. It could actually reconstruct itself into allowing lots of creative people to come forward, to create little shops, to create little booths, to create little pop-up stores, and how developers and shopping malls could actually reorganize this space into a village or into a different cluster of a nucleus of people coming together, selling things. So it could be more experiential in terms of space. Do you see like 100 pop-up stores or 100 shops within a space? That is where the question is. It's a choice and the responsibility of the designer of the future, right? People will come to you and say, you know what, after COVID, there's going to be budget. That's all the budget. Retail is going to be stressful. But how, as a designer, are you going to reinterpret and make it fun, humorous, and experiential? That people will be enjoying the space that we're going to create in the future. How are they going to meander through these retail zones that you are going to recreate? Budget, sure. But when there's every disaster that happens or a big trauma, a shock, new things will emerge. And when they emerge, they become more creative, more sexy. People will always want to do more, and so that they can tell a new story. And I think there's a big envelope of opportunity for young designers. I'm sure there's many out there. To take this inspiration, and tell people, tell developers, tell your clients that, there's more that can be done, right? It's not about budget only. And it depends on how you manage that story that you want to tell. Suitable for that customer, suitable for the clientele, suitable for the story, suitable for the space, suitable for the mall, right? Because this redefining moment will be the future of retail. I hope it makes sense.
Okay, I think just add a little bit. What Ben just said just now is the word called experience. See, the retail will be having tough time. The online is going to take over a lot of things, but online is still on, there's no life and soul. So designer job is how you inject that experience on the space to be able to get people. I mean, we are social people. I mean, we are. We cannot keep hiding forever, right? One day we have to surface, and that actually is depend on the designer creativity will emerge and create people how to be able to gather together, but yet still safe or sexy, right? I mean, there will be more and more creative solution coming out. I mean, I start to see some that already starts to surface, but we are at the very early stage. We're gonna get technology to help at the same time, right? So hopefully that would happen.
There's still a lot of questions to be answered, but I think we're going to limit until 2 more questions, maybe. Okay, and the next question is, from Pak Aldo. Hi, I'm Aldo. How do you manage your design concept to meet the client's budget? How do you keep the design concept on the client's budget limitation?
You want to answer or I answer?
I tend to blow the budget very often. So if you want to answer that.
Yeah, every client will have a budget. Yeah, every project. So what you do is once you define the concept, you don't think about the budget first. Budget came by material, but with today's scheme, I got plenty of material who can help. I mean, we've been doing all that. Some example, fiberglass is not expensive today, right? You can mold it to almost anything. We even make a wall panel using fiberglass instead of wood because some clients don't like to have a termite, right? So there's a many solution today using our today material technology and some creativity. We can actually downgrade the budget. Budget based on material, not the concept. So you stay with the concept first because that is the whole idea why you are being engaged first. Then from there, you downgrade it, the budget to meet. And how it's being done? I mean, there's many levels of certain things. Even paint, you got level A, level B, grade C. So as long you can get within those grades, you are fine. And secondly, I mean, today people say marble expensive, but we got a lot of tile that look like marble. We got laminate that look like wood also. And those are inexpensive material already, right? So exploring all this new material that we have, it's a lot in our industry. With a little bit of creativity, I think you can fit the budget. We always do, right?
Oh, there is one last question. This is very interesting. It's about the bubble project. But the question is in Bahasa Indonesia, so I will just read it in Bahasa. And maybe
Yes, I need your help. Yeah.
Right?
Translate for him. Okay, I will translate for him.
I will just read it in Bahasa. Saya sangat suka dengan desain Genius Loci, terutama proyek Babel di KL. Berapa lama waktu yang dibutuhkan untuk merealisasikan proyek tersebut? Dari negara mana sajakah material-material yang dipakai di Babel? Lalu untuk patung-patung, apakah didesain sendiri atau bekerja sama dengan seniman?
Okay, just give a band explanation. Okay, he liked the bubble, and then he asked how long it take you to build the project. Do you use a local material or imported material? And the sculpture that you did, is it work with the artist or you did it yourself? Okay, very quick.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Babel. How long did it take? The first Babel took us about 2 years to create. 2 years to create, and it took us about 9 months to build. The whole design process took longer because we have no reference in terms of a gym of this nature. We only can find exhibitions, we only can find show booths in Milan and all that, hospitality designs that really inspire us. So we talk about inspiration. It wasn't easy because there were so many things that we thought we could do. But at the same time, how to put it in control and create the narrative, the story from start to end. How are we going to transport people into a different dimension, a different experience? It was really difficult. It took a lot of time. 2 years it was what it took us to design the space. Babel, the second Babel at KLCC, took us also 2 years to create, and it took us about 1 year to construct. Right. The sculptures that we have done, we worked with artists. The artists have created similar pieces before, and we actually consulted them, and we told them our dream. We told them about the kind of philosophy. We told them about the ideas. I said, I want people. I want a representation of the visitor coming out from something, about exploring, about moving into something, about rebirth, about redefining yourself. So those are the brief I gave them. So how the thinker came about, he says he had done something like that before. I said, okay, great. He says, let's do a thinker in a hand. I said, sure. So he was telling me the story, it's like, it's in your hands. Your dream is in your hands. I said, okay, sounds good. So that was actually done purely in bronze. It's metal. Purely in bronze. It took about, I think, 8 people to carry that sculpture. right? We had to remove the doors of the shopping mall to get that sculpture in to the space. As for the materials, I'm glad that you actually asked. Babel KLCC, about 70% of materials were sourced within the 600 kilometers of the epicenter of KL. The artists, some of the artists we used were also from KL. The materials, recycled materials and all that were also sourced within the epicenter, within 600 kilometer zone of KL. So we tried as much as possible. It wasn't easy. Same for the first Babel. We tried. So everything we tried to keep it as localized as possible. So that it becomes something that it is a Malaysian kind of brand, something that people can associate with. Hence, we did what we did. I hope I answered those questions.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the answers, Pak Alex and Pak Ben. Unfortunately, we are almost come to the end of the time, even though there's still a lot of questions. But I want to say thank you also for all the participants for participating. I'm sorry if your answers is not get respond. But we're going to send to you today's presentation file through your emails. And together with that, we also going to send you the link for you to download our catalog, the seasonal, the signature collaboration catalog, where you can see all the designs collaboration from Mosaicart and Genius Loci. Here you can see all the photos and also the technical specification of the products. And if you need to know more about Mosaicart Classics collection, you can also visit our website and also follow our Instagram account, follow our LinkedIn account. And if you need to watch the recorded version of today's presentation, of course, you can always log in and don't forget to subscribe to Mosaicart YouTube channel. Our next episode, we're going to have two other speakers from Bobo's Design. They are Pak Reza Wahyudi and also Pak Iwan Anggawan, who's going to discuss about the rebirth of a living space. It's going to be a very interesting discussion as they are going to share their experience and their project and how they solve the problem of a function of a building to become something different. They can transform that. So they're going to share all that experience. And don't miss it. And I hope to see you again in the next episode. Bye-bye. Thank you.